Hi everyone, welcome to Stavanger in Norway. I am here to cover NATO Anti-Submarine Warfare exercise Dynamic Mongoose. There are two key features this year for the exercise. First, the Royal Swedish Navy is participating for the very first time as a full-fledged NATO member. And second, there's a larger number of assets taking part in the exercise this year. Without further ado, let's meet with Rear Admiral Ru, Commander Submarines NATO, to find out more. Admiral Ru, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please briefly share your background with us and tell us what ComSub NATO is about?
My name is Rear Admiral Thomas Wall. I'm Commander of Submarines NATO, and my background is in submarines, both on the Atlantic and Pacific side.
What is ComSub NATO?
ComSub NATO is the operational controller of all NATO submarines that are assigned to us. It's also the commander of Theater ASuW in the area of responsibility.
All right, so we are here in Stavanger, Norway for Dynamic Mongoose 2024. Can you please share with us what your expectations are for this exercise?
This exercise is one of the most complex that we've done in this region. It's the most complex Dynamic Mongoose exercise that we've done. And it'll be a combination of Theater ASuW training that happens in the GI-UK gap from Norway all the way to Iceland.
What's unique this year is that the Royal Swedish Navy is participating for the first time as a full-fledged NATO member. How important is this for you?
The last time that Sweden participated in Dynamic Mongoose was almost 10 years ago in 2015. They are participating as an ally now. They have full communication capability, and they will be a submarine that is both hunted and is hunting others. The Swedish submarine force operates in shallow waters, and they're used to operating in this environment that's different from other areas. They'll be a key asset, both to try and find and to help us find other submarines.
Which other submarines and surface vessels are participating this year?
So we have 5 submarines. We also have a submarine from Norway. We also have one from the Dutch Navy. We have the United Kingdom and the United States.
And surface vessels?
We have 10 surface vessels. Most importantly, we're using our standing NATO forces, SNMG-1. There's other nations that are supporting the exercise, but the SNMG-1 will be a local ASuW coordinator for the exercise itself.
All right. In terms of geographical area, how different is it to conduct ASuW here in northern Atlantic waters compared, let's say, to the Mediterranean Sea?
The Northern Atlantic, and it's not just the waters, but it's the topography that make this a very interesting location for ASuW. The nations that are involved have experience here, but it doesn't mean it's not a challenging environment, both for the submarines and for those ASuW assets that are hunting them.
My last question, Admiral, is about readiness. Do you feel that NATO submarines overall are ready?
That's a great question. I have high confidence in the NATO submarine force and the nations that provide us those platforms. Most importantly, it's not just the platforms, but it's the crew and it's the submarine commanding officers that bring extensive capability to what we do and what I need.
All right, Admiral Ru, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
We are now on board the Spanish Navy frigate Admiral Ru with Rear Admiral Ruiz, the commander of Standard NATO Maritime Group 1 or SNMG-1. Admiral, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for welcoming us on board one Spanish Navy frigate. Can you please first tell us what is SNMG-1?
SNMG-1 is a permanent naval force, one of the 2 surface combatants naval forces that NATO operate permanently. And this one, Group 1, is always sailing in the North Sea, North Atlantic and Baltic Sea, and entering and visiting the nations, allied nations of this region. There are another 2 groups of permanent groups of mine hunters, and those are the permanent forces NATO have every single day of the year around, and we provide a permanent presence in the area to monitor all maritime activities, to provide deterrence as we move across the area, and to provide assurance to NATO nations of the region that we are here for their security. We operate most of the time at sea. We also visited ports, but we tell the people that we are not only here when we are in port. Most of the time we are out there, very close to their nations, providing security for them.
What will be your role during exercise Dynamic Mongoose?
In this exercise, I will be leading the surface units. All surface units will be integrated together with the standing NATO Maritime Group 1, and we will cooperate with maritime patrol aircraft and with submarines, friendly submarines, to hunt other friendly submarines acting as opposing forces for this exercise.
In your opinion, what's the most challenging part of organizing such an exercise?
Well, anti-submarine warfare is a very complex warfare. It's all about coordination of very different assets with very different capabilities, and the only way to hunt other submarines is to have a very, very close coordination among us to provide coverage of the region where the submarine could be once we detect it, to be able to track her, because they are very movable, very flimsy targets when they're out there. So it's very difficult, I would say, and requires a lot of coordination and cooperation among all units. That's why we need to train it continuously to achieve that coordination.
And last but not least, how important is it for NATO navies to conduct such exercises?
Well, it is absolutely critical to keep our capabilities in anti-submarine warfare. We couldn't keep them unless we exercise them continuously. This is a long time prepared exercise. We also conduct exercise like this in the Mediterranean Sea, and we do that every year. We need to continue doing that to keep our capabilities sharp and to keep that level of coordination.
Admiral, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are now in Bergen, at the main naval base of the Royal Norwegian Navy, to meet with the commanding officer of HMS Gotland of the Royal Swedish Navy, to find out more about their participation for the first time as a NATO member to the NATO exercise Dynamic Mongoose. Good morning, Captain. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi. Victor Moberg, commanding officer of the Gotland. She's one of our most updated boats. She's 6 meters long and about 2,000 tons heavy. Designed to operate in the Baltic, but also capable of going basically anywhere.
All right, so we are here in Norway, in Bergen, for your participation into the NATO Anti-Submarine Warfare exercise, Dynamic Mongoose. So what is your feeling about being able to participate in such a major exercise as a full NATO member?
It's really good to be able to participate in such a focused ASuW and submarine warfare exercise. We don't get that a lot, so it's a great opportunity.
Can you share with us what will be your role during the exercise? Will you play the blue force or the red force, a little bit of both maybe?
It's a little bit of both. So we will be both training against other submarines and against the surface forces, and with and against aerial anti-submarine warfare assets.
And Captain, as a submariner, are there any impacts about being a NATO member from a submariner or submarine commander point of view?
There's been some great work done to get integrated, especially on the communication side. But it all turned out great, and it works now. So it's a good feeling.
You're used to patrolling the Baltic Sea very much. Maybe a little less the open ocean or North Atlantic. Is that something you're ready to do, however? Have you done it before?
We do it on occasion, but not as often as we might like. So it's always a bit more preparation, primarily for the sonar people and for the watch officers to be able to cope with the different conditions. Because the water is very different. The sound environment is very different from what we're used to. So nothing that's difficult or unmanageable.
So that's something you're looking forward to doing a little more?
Very much so, yeah.
All right, Captain, thank you very much, and I hope you have a good exercise.
Thank you.
Thank you.